The growing population is becoming an increasingly bigger obstacle. We need more and more living space, but since our cities are already overfilled, current living concepts have to be rethought and made more sustainable. Here we have to differentiate between ecological and social sustainability. To solve this problem, not only good but fast, we have to decide what we want. An important aspect of ecological sustainability in this case is the used space.
Tiny houses are pioneering in this aspect. They are a low-cost alternative and show how you can live with little without a feeling of missing out. Often they are made from wood, which is a very sustainable resource. Depending on their type, they are even mobile and can be set in nature. But in comparison to other options which we are going to name later, tiny houses need a lot of floor space and have a big surface in comparison to the low volume, because they aren't built up.
Generational houses are closest to our current living concepts, but you live with your parents, children, and sometimes even grandparents and share a bigger house and possibly a garden. Instead of 3 houses, you only need 1, which is good when it comes to floor space. But it's questionable if living in single-family houses will solve our problem and create enough living space in the future, because it reflects our current concept, which has to be rethought. How sustainable the house is going to be depends on a lot of other factors, which we are going to name later because they are important in general.
Skyscrapers are probably the most efficient option, even though they have left the focus. They might be not very pretty or nice to look at, but they have the advantage of a big amount of people being able to live on a small amount of floor space. They are also better when it comes to energy efficiency, because in comparison to their volume, they don't have a lot of surface where heat can be lost. The smaller the apartment space per person, the better. But at the same time, the sacrifice can be very high here. A personal garden won't be possible and the problems of a potential social conflict is way higher.
But how do you make a house more ecological sustainable?
Resources should be used in a way that everything can be reused. They also should be renewable and biodegradable. High efficiency also plays a big role. On the one hand, you should use energy like electricity and warmth sparingly. Good insulation plays a big role here. On the other hand, the surface should be used as good as possible to make the cities greener or produce and save the needed power, for example with solar panels. But not only the energy supply will get shorter with the growing population, the usage of drinking water has to be rethought as well. One idea is to let a house create its own water cycle by processing the water itself. For toilet water, for example, you wouldn't need fresh drinking water but could use rainwater instead.
We mentioned before that for the future, using little floor space to live on is important. Because of that, it is important that the interior design is chosen in a way that living in a small space is not only possible, but also fun.
We can't lose focus on what is really important, and that is that the whole cities have to be reformed. Because it's not useful if just some houses are built to the ultimatum while the rest of the city is flooded in the next storm. That means our city of the future not only have to have parks and sustainable solutions for the mobility problem, but also protection against natural disasters. Parks and other green spaces help with rising temperatures. Drainage pits relieve the canalization and aid in flooding prevention.
How would you want to live in the future?